Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Tis I, Colton Robertson, and today is part 3 of our top 100 comic book characters. I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Hey, if it is your first time being here, go ahead. I mean, I can't blame you for skipping to the top 50. I can hardly blame you for skipping to the top 50. You know, 100 comic book characters. Who needs it? Who needs it? We needed it. So we've got 2 other episodes covering 100 through 51. Broke up into 2 parts. It's going to be a 4-part saga. We did it for Star Wars. Now we're doing it for comic book characters. Very, very excited. And we're kicking off today with our top 50. It'll be 50 through 26. And next week, the last episode will be the top 25. So very, very excited. And I'm ready to kick this off whenever you are, buddy. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's jump in.
All right, let's jump right in. I've got at number 50. I want, you know, we've discussed how like the milestone numbers, you kind of want to make them pop a little bit. How you kick off an episode, how you finish an episode. And I'm heading to the Watchmen bag for the only time this episode with 50 in Dr. Manhattan.
Okay. Wow. Glad he's on your list. He's not on mine, but that's definitely I'm glad he's getting mentioned here.
Oh, he's like, I think to the just the original Watchmen graphic novel with written by Alan Moore, illustrated by Dave Gibbons, and really what does it for me are illustrations of Dr. Manhattan in the by Dave Gibbons in this book. Like, this shit is incredible. It just looks too good, you know. Like he pops on a page in a way that not a lot of characters can. You know, he's a naked blue guy, and the overwhelming power of Dr. Manhattan.
Basically a god. I mean, he transcends time. You know, he's experiencing everything all at once. It's one of the coolest concepts for a character that I can think of. I remember while watching the Watchmen series on HBO, I was just like, man, what just a cool concept of a character in a show. And finally learning, you know, how he came to be and like how we fell in love and everything. Was super cool. Definitely one of my favorite TV shows of all time. I'd say in my top 10 pretty comfortably. And it's only one season.
Which exactly. Like, it's like, I think it might have broke my top 5 if I remember correctly when we did that episode. But this illustration here of him sitting alone on Mars has become quite the meme. But it concludes book 3 of the Watchmen original comic run, and frankly, it's a really powerful piece there, where he's talking about total devastation and how he'd always kind of hoped that the big decision would rest with somebody else. But he's totally indifferent at this point, and after that, humanity is in the hands of a higher authority.
Man.
And him sitting in his isolation on Mars, completely indifferent to humanity. Just a powerful imagery, and it's become quite the meme. But Dr. Manhattan's a real powerful character, so that's why I had to kick it off here with 50.
All right, my 50. I'm continuing the DC train from Poison Ivy. Was my 51, but my 50 is Bane. And I think the Bane that I like more, it's not the Dark Knight Rises Bane that I really cling to. No. I really love the Arkham games, and I don't think they get talked about enough. But the storylines they have, the cutscenes that they have, are just so good. And this portrayal of Bane was so cool. It's the huge, comic book version. He's got tubes everywhere in his body, pumping in that stuff to him. But not to say that the Dark Knight Rises Bane was bad. I mean, I still enjoy that Bane.
Tom Hardy's
the voice.
You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
Iconic. I mean, everyone knows that. And I don't know. I feel maybe he doesn't really fit the milestone for 50. But I mean,
I think he does. I think he does. I have him coming up here in a couple spots. Won't be too big of a gap here between our Banes. But I think that is kind of a milestone character. He's for my money probably the most underrated Batman rogue. In terms of iconicism. You go to Joker, you go to Two-Face, you go to Penguin. These ones are Riddler. I feel like you go to all those before you think Bane. And but Bane nevertheless is an awesome fucking character. And this episode will be fruitful for Batman villains. And a lot of villains in general this episode. Be a strong one for me. And
a lot of people thinking that in the most recent Batman movie that he injected himself with it was green, and it looks like it, but I don't know. I guess I'm kind of still up in the air on that. I'm thinking it's just straight up adrenaline.
I thought it was straight up adrenaline too, just using it in that moment to get himself. But it kind of fits the bill. It
could be. Yeah, it could be. What a cool way to set up the character too.
Oh I'd be willing to bet. Batman's developed this serum to get him hype in moments where he needs to get that upper, but maybe Bane gets his hands on it and it gets altered to a degree and to the point where he abuses it, or maybe it doesn't get altered at all. He just abuses it, and that's how it happens.
And it could make maybe with they're going more of a realistic role. Maybe it is just straight up adrenaline, like that Bane gets addicted. Maybe it's not like this mysterious whatever. Maybe it is just adrenaline, and he alters it in some way.
I can see them going the route of Bane being a substance abuse thing with that. It could be interesting, but I'll keep the villain train going, but I'm gonna switch to Marvel for you. And this is where I have one who I assume is probably your highest ranked villain. This is where I have Ultron at 49.
Yes, he will be coming much, much later.
Yeah, not this week for you, I can't imagine.
No.
Nope. Yeah, I figured not. I really do love Ultron, and whenever I think about it, whenever I was crafting this list, I was like, where do I feel comfortable putting him as far as ranking just MCU villains? Is he in the right spot? Did I put him below the villains I wanted to put him below? And it's kind of conflicting. He probably could have rose up this list a little bit, but as far as villains are concerned, purely from a standpoint of villainy, he's amongst the top tier. But the way that he resonates with me, there were a couple of villains that kind of rose to a different height. I do love me some Ultron though, and I won't speak on him too much because you'll have plenty to say about Ultron. But love Age of Ultron, criminally underrated movie, an incredible character introduction there. For Ultron, people have been talking about the greatest villain entrances of all time due to the Riddler popping up at the beginning of the Batman behind the mayor in that moment where it's just the dark, and we'll get to that. But that villain introduction with Ultron, where he's the dismembered bot, where he walks into the room and is like, I remember, it's just like this confusion that he has, and then it refines into oh, okay, kill the Avengers. That's a really strong introduction to that character. So that's why I've got Ultron in my top 50. He had to be. There was no doubt about it.
Well, thank you for putting him up there. But yeah, I'll definitely have some more to speak on next episode.
I figured such.
But I'm sticking with DC here. Another villain this is where my Harvey Dent Two-Face is. And now I've seen him here, maybe a little low, but I don't know. I'm looking at the names that are above him, and I don't know. I think this is kind of where he does fall, because the only real role I do think of is the Dark Knight. That's the Two-Face I know, and it's impeccable. Like it's one of the best characters in the movie, in my opinion. I think like the Batman takes
might
a side,
be the premier character in that movie, besides the Joker. Like, I think their dichotomy is the main focus of that movie, is Harvey Dent and Joker.
And it's the dichotomy between, the White Knight and the Dark Knight. It's Batman could be there with just that one little push, that one little push, and he can get there, and it shows, why he doesn't kill. It's like he doesn't take that step, and Harvey.
That balance there where it's the same action happens to both of them. Rachel dies. That's the thing that pushes Harvey to the point where he's like, well, I'm a lose it. And it's the thing that makes Bruce go, well, I have to stop this. And like that's the difference. And I think it's really, really powerful. And I will be getting to Harvey Dent also in this episode, but that's one of the larger gaps you can have in an episode. Interestingly enough, but so that was your 49. All right, cool. We're kicking it off with some heavy hitters there in the villain category. I love it.
Oh yeah.
My 48, I'll keep the foot on the gas on the villain side of things, and I've got a Spider-Man villain and Vulture. I loved Michael Keaton's Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, and he's one of the early Spider-Man villains in the history of Spider-Man as far as comic books is concerned. But bringing him to life as like this working class hero in Homecoming was really, really strong. I loved it, how he felt smited by the rich and the powerful, and was like, you know what, we're going to take back from them, and we're going to use it for ourselves, and gain power on a smaller level. And I really, really enjoyed it. I look forward to any future with Michael Keaton's Vulture we could possibly have in the MCU. And I think there definitely is a future with Michael Keaton's Michael Keaton's Vulture in the MCU. He's just, and frankly, an amazing actor. So it'll be pretty cool to see.
All of his villains usually end up being someone's father, that's close to him. And it's just, I don't know, a twist in the movie that even though it happens all the time in Spidey villains, I wasn't expecting. Like, when
he opens, like when you see that for the first time, you're like, oh shit. I remember watching it and being like, what? Like, I don't know that there is a more effective, subtle twist in the MCU. In terms of like, not grand, like it's not like massive betrayal on a level we hadn't seen before, but like just a little, like he opens the door, there's like a little musical flair and then silence. It's like, and you see Michael Keaton and you're like, oh shit.
See, yeah. Oh man,
that was just really, really strong, and that last fight they have where Peter's ultimately trying to like, I'm trying to save you. Like, I'm not fighting you anymore. Like, you're gonna die. You're gonna blow up if you keep doing what you're doing. And he's too far gone at that point. And he does live, which is good. And Spidey does win and save his life, which is also good. And one of three endings where he becomes Spider-Man at the end of the movie. So feel like they kind of went back to the bag a couple times there for the endings there. They're like, now he's Spider-Man. Now he's Spider-Man. Now he's Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? But this was a good first step in that trajectory for Spider-Man's arc, and Vulture is integral in it. So I really like him.
Glad he made the list. He didn't make mine. I guess probably should have. I would have put him probably a little lower. I need to rewatch Homecoming. I think it is underrated for what it is. Everyone's going to cling to No Way Home, obviously, as the Spidey movie, and I think it's going to be forgotten a little bit. So I don't know, definitely a deserving spot for Vulture. Continuing on, my 48. This is where I have Nebula.
Nice.
And I think the reason I like her so much, I mean, obviously I love the Guardians, the movies a whole lot, and her just being involved in that crew in a little way is awesome. Her and Tony, just being alone for a while and then playing like, with the paper football or whatever. And like, I don't know.
There's like this really like subtle character moment during that, where if she loses historically, it's replacing a body part for her. So when she wins and Tony's like, "Congratulations, you won," she's like, she looks confused and like doesn't know how to handle herself and is like, "Okay, cool, okay, yeah."
And like they're eating food or whatever. It's like the last of their rations, and like she like just here you go, Tony. It's just so cute between them.
She's like, "My stomach's mechanical. Go ahead."
I don't know. But I mean, that whole storyline between her and Gamora and Thanos, that just devastating seeing that, her being the one to let Thanos know that he won in order to travel into the future, to go back was a cool way to connect those dots, to make Thanos know he was inevitable. But I don't know. I think Nebula is just a cool concept of a character. The design of her is amazing. Just colorful character.
Hey, Cha-Cha. What if Nebula? It's pretty strong.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. I think, I don't know. I kind of felt like she was a little high, after saying like Harvey Dent and Bane and Poison Ivy, but I don't know. I like, the more I think of Nebula, the more her character like stands out. And, I don't know. I do love Nebula. I never.
She was criminally low on my list. I think I should have given her a little bump. She came in the 90s for me, but, she should have been higher. She's a strong MCU character, to be sure. But yeah, that's a good 48. My 47. This is where I have Agatha Harkness, as portrayed by Katherine Hahn. I love Agatha. And WandaVision specifically holds like a really special spot in my heart. So the characters in WandaVision, it's reflected as such. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of only having not a ton of screen time under her belt, certainly less than Nebula at this point, you know what I'm saying? But the future of Agatha Harkness is something that I look forward to greatly. I mean, it's been Agatha all along. I don't know that there was a more iconic moment that
took the world by storm. That song was everywhere.
There was only one moment in pop culture that I'd argue in 2021 was larger, and it was the fact that Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield were all in the same. As far as Marvel's concerned, like I'd say It's Been Agatha All Along was second to that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a big fucking moment.
I mean, with her, you get the Mephisto, little cockroach fly things. You have the I don't know, so many. There's so much that is left unanswered.
And just because it wasn't confirmed at the end of the WandaVision doesn't mean it's nothing. One day, it took 10 years to get Thanos.
That's true. Oh yeah, and I don't know. I'm definitely just excited to see what the future of Agatha is. If she if she will slowly take over, like if she can get out of like what Wanda has done to her, if she's powerful enough to do that.
I strongly suspect that amidst our multiverse of madness dealings with Wanda, that she returns to Westview and enlists Agatha in some way, or seeks her help in some capacity.
The way I was thinking about it was that maybe Wanda, they're going to be traveling through the multiverse, and maybe when she leaves that universe, the thing she has over everyone in that universe is gone because she is no longer there. I don't know. I guess I don't know how her powers work. If it just once she puts it in a person, if it stays for however long she wants until she takes it off, I don't know. But I was thinking it'd be a slow burn, like over time. It'd be a consequence you wouldn't really think about. But then Agatha pops up some way, and being like, oh yeah, ever since you left this universe, I have, I've gotten back my control. I've, everything and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's the movie that we have no idea where we're going. And I'm ready to just be strapped in. But that's definitely I don't know, good pick there, Agatha.
Yeah.
But moving on to my 47, this is where I have Killmonger, and just what a like well written character. What if too, and in Black Panther, it just so much story is packed into Black Panther, and Killmonger's is I don't know, one of my favorite parts of the movie. Just
one of the strongest MCU
too.
villains. Period.
Yeah, his design, all those little, I don't know what you call them, pips on his body, that he puts for every.
little scars.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Was just so cool, and he's you can get behind him a little bit, even though he's kind of going about opening up Wakanda the wrong way, but
he's an extremist, like the ideals he is fighting for, you can understand. It's the methodology in which he plans to implement his ideas that become a little like, oh no, that's where we're getting a little bit harmful to the world as a whole.
And I mean, it makes sense to where he came from. He was kind of put to the side, and he's
and I mean, like, betrayed by Wakanda. Like, it makes sense for him to be like, they're clearly doing shit wrong.
And he's very calculated. I think that's why I have him up pretty high up here, is that he's very calculated. And then in What If, seeing how calculated he is there, is amazing.
I think that gives us an even greater insight to how he goes about doing the things he does. Like, it's like everything's a really meticulous and thought out decision. It's nothing's just being strung about. You know what I'm saying? It's he knows what he's doing, and he knows far in advance. And if he sees an opportunity to advance his plans, he'll take it. Such as going for 6 Infinity Stones.
But that was just Doctor Strange and the Watcher's plan all along. They just needed the stones to be separated so they could. But man, yeah, Killmonger. I don't know. Just I think I don't know. Kind of, he's middle of the road here in the list, and I think that's kind of where he lies. But I don't know if we have any future plans with Killmonger. I'm not sure. He is dead now, in the MCU, but if they decide to bring him back in any,
I think we're a shoo-in to get Killmonger back. Multiversally.
And Michael B. Jordan, like such a great actor to
same with like Ulysses Claw, like the guy he killed in Black Panther. I'd be willing to bet we get Andy Serkis's character back in here, because it's Andy Serkis, and how are you just going to let that guy go after I know he was an Ultron, but you're going to kill him off halfway through Black Panther? Come on, it's Andy Serkis. Get that man back in here. That's a fantastic actor. But yeah, Killmonger, he'll be popping up later in this episode for me as well. But yeah, good one. 46 for me. This is where I have been. Just a couple of spots separating the characters. Last night I actually revisited Batman and Robin from 1997 with George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell, and that's got a fun it's campy, it's stupid, it's dumb, but it's got a fun slate of villains. You got Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Bane all in the mix in Batman and Robin, and
I gotta watch some of the older Batman stuff, man. I gotta just.
They took it off HBO Max. I had to go to Vintage Stock and buy the DVDs.
Dang, interesting.
But yeah, and I think that movie more than any other takes after the 1966 series, and is campy and is dumb and is fun on purpose. Like, people like to go, that's the worst Batman movie. And it's like, it so obviously is, to the point where it's like, you can't be this campy. You can't be this dumb and stupid without trying to be that campy, dumb, and stupid. Like, I think they definitely executed on exactly what they wanted to. And it's just it's an all right movie, but it's fun as hell. And Bane's a pretty fun part of it. He's very unintelligible in it. He gets the venom and is pretty much from there on just a not a lot of articulate thought, mostly just rage monster. That's one of the adaptations that actually has him in the luchador mask.
Oh yeah.
which is people like if there's any gripe that I understand with The Dark Knight Rises, it's that Bane's a white guy, which is not technically how Bane's supposed to be portrayed. He's definitely a Mexican man. So like I can get behind that gripe, and I can also get behind the idea that it's a little lacklusterly written that movie.
No one cared before I put on the mask. Whatever. But he is just such a cool character, man. Like what a, I don't know. Batman villains, Batman and Spidey villains are just like,
yeah, and that's where I've got a lot of those here this episode, but yep. So that's where I got Bane at 46.
All right. Well, my 46, I'm sticking with the Black Panther vein. This is where I have Shuri.
Cool.
And love me the smart Brainiac characters, and Shuri probably one of the smartest humans on Earth, if not the smartest.
Pretty fucking intelligent.
Having Wakanda and her being the lead of science, or I forgot what her position was called, or like what.
You will be the ambassador of something like science and development, or like something like that. She's in charge of R&D essentially. And
I don't know, just her. Whenever they get Vision in there, and they're like, "Yo, we need this stone out of here." And she's like, "Why did you do it this way? This is so convoluted. You could have done this such easier. And like, this is going to be so hard for me to get it out, but whatever, I'll start." And then, you just see her tinkering away.
Yeah.
Sneakers, like, I don't know, just such, she has a lot of amazing moments. And I just love anything science, anything Brainiac, and can't wait to see the future of Shuri.
Oh, yeah. It seems bright. It seems bright, to be sure. To be Shuri.
Wow. What a good
one. But that's a good one. That's for 46. You got Shuri. I can get behind that. At my 45, I've got another Batman villain back to back here, and more specifically, the Batman villain. I've got not so much a villain in that movie, but Ozzy Cobblepot. Hi, I'm Ozzy. And far and away, my favorite portrayal of Penguin is the Batman with Colin Farrell. Whenever he's like, "Man, guess you're really everything they said. Guess we both are." Whenever Batman's holding him up to the window, and he's like, "Do you know my reputation?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do. Do you? Like, I'll beat the shit out of you right now, and I know you won't do a fucking thing about it." You goddamn rat. Like, there's just so many great moments from Ozzy Cobblepot in the Batman. And frankly, like,
big man now, Oz, huh? You're a big man. Maybe I am.
Maybe I am.
And
you motherfucker, I ought to fucking shoot your ass.
I can't wait to see
El Rata, it says that.
Am I the only one who knows Spanish around here? Man.
Habla español, fellas. La Rata.
He's getting a spinoff, right? Like, he's confirmed
he will be the subject of a...
Perfect. Oh my God, that is just so perfect.
Oh, dude, I love it so much. And I've been going back and on Tubi TV. It's one of the streaming places you can watch stuff now. They have Batman 66, the original Adam West Batman series. And it's incredibly dumb, incredibly campy, incredibly serial. Like, it's like definitely not to be taken incredibly seriously. Their portrayal of Penguin is hilarious because he's someone does a crime with umbrellas, and they're like, "Well, it can only be one man. There's only one man who does the umbrella thing, and it's Ozzy. It's Oswald the Cobblepot."
And I mean, the Gotham TV show, the portrayal of Penguin there, he has like this walk to him, little waddle, like the Penguin, and he's kind of more of a smaller, fragile like character, but then he builds in, and no one's afraid of him at first, but then after he does, what the Penguin does, everyone starts to fear him, and I don't know, it's just a super interesting portrayal in Gotham, but I can't wait for that spinoff series.
I mean, how do we talk about Penguin without mentioning Danny DeVito?
True.
Starring
the true goat,
Michael Keaton.
The true goat Penguin.
Yeah, that's That's a pretty iconic one. But yeah, Colin Farrell's Ozzy Cobblepot, him being portrayed as this Italian mobster. That was the move. I'm shocked it hasn't been done. Like hi, I'm Ozzy. It was just perfect. So yeah, I've got Oswald Cobblepot here at 45.
Awesome. Well, I think is this my first? No, I had an X-Men before, but I'm getting into a little some X-Men starting up here. This is where I kind of start off a kick. But my 45 is this is where I have Cyclops.
Cool.
And I think Cyclops was he rose for me after like deep diving into Jean Grey and Phoenix, and like their whole love story was amazing. And I don't know, the struggle that Scott has, I think is just a super cool concept of for a character, and he's kind of a leader of the X-Men sometimes. And I don't know, just as I'm getting more into X-Men, he's becoming more and more he's rising more and more. And I don't know, I'm still pretty new to the X-Men and everything, but him being up at 45 I think shows just the strength of X-Men, even though the movies aren't held in super high esteem, whatever. But character wise,
but there's a lot of character there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of exciting stuff on the character side of things there, and Scott Summers is no exception. Cyclops is an electric character in terms of on screen. It can potentially be one of the coolest power sets you can watch unfold. If executed properly. And my defining version of Scott Summers will always be the animated series, the OG animated series. That's my shit right there. But yeah, that's a good one. I had him pretty low, as he was always one of my least favorite members of the X-Men. But I've spoke on that before. I had this Wolverine bias, and they had, you said the more you got into the Jean Grey thing, the more you were like, I like Scott. The more I got into the Jean Grey thing, I'm like, fuck Scott. All my homies hate Scott.
I think the thing I remember the most is Jean is like full phoenixed out, and like she's kind of gone off for a while, but then she comes back and they have this moment alone, like on top of the super tall mountain. And Jean is like, I'm like, she starts to take off Scott's glasses, and he's like, no, what are you doing? And he's like, I can stop this from happening. I can mentally block it so that you can see me like with your true eyes, see me through your eyes, and it was just I'm a hopeless romantic at heart. So it was just a super cute moment. And I don't know, I guess the only X-Men I have below him are Nightcrawler, Rogue, and Storm. I'm looking down below, I think. And I think that makes sense. I think if one were to rise higher, it would be Rogue. And it's after just watching the X-Men animated series. I think Rogue, that's where Rogue, out of the Southern Belle vibe she has. I don't know. I think if one character were to rise above Scott, it would be Rogue. But I don't know. I think seeing where he falls amongst the other X-Men, I think this is about right for me. So yeah. My 45.
Cool. Yeah, I'll go on a little bit of an X-Men kick here towards the end of this episode, a little bit, but just a few of them. But yeah, it's a good one. That's a good one. Am I 44? This is where I have Wenwu, the villain in Shang-Chi. Was ultimately became one of my favorite MCU villains upon the viewing of that movie. He his romantic nature that ultimately
the dance that they have, the fight. I call it more of a dance.
Oh yeah, it looks a lot more like a dance. It's
what a fight! Like that's a fight scene.
I remember watching that for the first time in theaters and being nearly moved to tears. I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful.
A fight scene with purpose. It's not just fighting to fight. There was a whole purpose behind that.
They're falling in love.
I mean, you immediately knew. Like it was, I don't know, such a beautiful
moment where he's sitting at his desk and he looks over the couch and he can envision him and his wife sitting there with Shang-Chi and Xialing, and he can remember that, and it's just so far out of reach, but she's calling to him. He knows he's going to get her back, and the whole thing taking advantage of him, and him not actually Like, he is a villain, obviously, but like there's this manipulation of Wenwu that makes it so that it's like, damn,
you don't put him up there with like a Thanos or
no.
anything.
He's not
like
nearly
that,
as bad. Like even a villain like that, which is understandable and stuff like that, like to a degree, is still 10 times more evil, it feels like, than Wenwu. And obviously that's Wenwu post meeting his wife. Wenwu did have the 10 rings for thousands of years, ravaging and pillaging and destroying civilizations and stuff. So like,
think there's any Eternals connection there? It feels very yeah. It feels very Eternals-esque. And just him being around for that long, I would assume they had some. I don't know. I guess they only involved
the 10 rings were all around the world, all over the place, and he was alive a long fucking time. I don't know. It feels almost inevitable that they crossed paths at some point in some capacity.
And the Mandarin, just being like people have tried to take my name over the years, and like learning that the Mandarin was just like I don't know, it was Shang-Chi. He's I don't know. It's interesting that you have Wenwu here, because in a couple spots I have another Shang-Chi character coming up that might be a little low for you, but I'm more of, we've only gotten one movie, so far,
right,
and I don't want to.
You want the yeah,
but I mean, it goes to show how strong that movie is, though. It's a movie that is like infinitely rewatchable. And I always come back to it. And ever since it's been on Disney Plus, it's just been a comfort movie. So definitely, Wenwu didn't make my list, but I'm definitely glad you brought him in, and we could talk about him.
Very glad I did too.
My 44. This is where I have Beast, and he's, I don't know, Beast is becoming a favorite of mine out of the X-Men, especially after watching the animated series. He's always like a calm mind, level head. And he's always, I don't know, very meticulous. And I don't know, his character is super cool. How he embraces, the Beast after a while. The whole Mystique and Beast storyline that they have there of, finally embracing themselves and being truly who they are, even though at first they were trying to, cure it and make it go away forever. But then it ended up bringing out their true selves. I don't know, just another beautiful storyline. And the more that I'm getting into X-Men, the more Beast is climbing. But another Brainiac character, I got a soft spot for those. But yeah, not too much to say on Beast, I guess. But he edges out Cyclops. He is above Cyclops. So, and I think the gap will grow as I experience more X-Men. But
yeah, I think the gap that I have between Cyclops and Beast is nearly 70, or might be over 70. So like, yeah, like I'll get to Beast this episode, but I think he is the second highest X-Men I have. So like definitely one of my favorite in that group. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit more than that, but we'll see. Yeah, I'll get there eventually. Beast, one of the oh my stars and garters. He's got this whole like he's just a level head. He's the cool dude who's there to ride, and him getting. I don't fuck with his characterizations so much in the modern X-Men to a degree. There's some things that he does where I'm like, I don't know, that just doesn't feel right. But for the most part, they kind of nail it on screen. Especially the way the Beast looks and the more feline cat-like thing they've got going on in the modern X-Men. I really like that. But yeah, I'll get to some more Beast later on in this episode. But with that, my 43, this is where I have Eric Killmonger. Not too much higher than yours. I thought he was fresh off of Black Panther. I'd have told you there probably has never been a better superhero movie villain. And since my head's cooled a little bit on Black Panther over the years, I still love it with all my heart, but the recency bias doesn't come into effect so much anymore. And he's still amongst the best though, as far as the MCU is concerned. And is this your king? Like that's an electric thing. And like I'm not, people like love Michael B. Jordan. I'm not huge on his acting ability. I think he's pretty good. Like he's good enough to get the job done, but I think and that's for me his best scene is whenever he is beating T'Challa down and is like, "Is this your king?" Like I don't think he does it as good as any other time.
What an unexpected part of that movie too. Like whenever he throws him off the water,
I was like, ain't no way, right? Ain't no way he's dead. And then he throws him off a waterfall, and I'm like, oh, okay,
wow. And I think it's hilarious. Like the soundtrack, the album of Black Panther, we could have had like the whole movie spoiled for us if we just paid attention a little closer. But
oh hail King Killmonger, red light, green light, fast cars.
But definitely a strong villain in the MCU.
And definitely one that, like, comics wise, I've really, really loved getting to know. Ta-Nehisi Coates has been writing a Black Panther run, or wrote a Black Panther run recently, where it's like the intergalactic empire of Wakanda, and Killmonger is the emperor. Like he rules Wakanda on an intergalactic scale.
Okay, damn.
Yeah, and it's pretty fucking awesome. The character design they've got there. I'll have to find some images of that and send it to you because it is fucking cool. Me and Tavares have also covered a few issues of that here on the podcast. But yeah, Killmonger, just a super cool character. And so that's where I got Killmonger.
My 42, coming back to the Guardians crew. This is where
did you skip
43?
43?
Sorry, 43.
Yeah.
Still in the Guardians crew. This is where I have Drax. And out of the Guardians crew, there's not much, that Drax really has other than, Thanos killed his family and, all of it, everyone was wiped out, and he has this revenge arc for Thanos. But I think the part that I latch onto more of Drax is him and Mantis. Their storylines together. I think that's like they have some of the best moments, and he's a comic relief character. Standing so still that that I'm invisible. To the naked eye or whatever. He just has a lot of just iconic. Just funny moments. And for character design, he just looks so cool. The two daggers, him like in Endgame where you just see him like you're just going crazy, with his daggers or whatever. But yeah, out of the Guardians crew,
I must cut the beast from within.
But yeah, he's I don't know. I love me some Drax. Batista.
What are those? Annulax batteries, Harbulary batteries. That is not at all what I just said. Like. I fucking love that shit, bro.
Yeah, I love me some Drax.
She just revealed your deepest and darkest secrets. Do me.
And Mantis,
what a fucking funny guy.
Whenever Mantis just touches Drax for the first time and just instantly feels all that pain.
God, that's really just one of those moments that you're just like, James Gunn knows what to do with a character, huh?
Mm-hmm. But that was my 43. I have Drax.
All right. 42 for me. I'm gonna go back to the WandaVision bag. You had her quite a bit earlier. This is where I've got Monica Rambeau. I remember we had a similar discussion last time where it was you like the longevity of the character. The more you can get them, the higher they're going to rise. And this one, we're only at the beginning for Monica Rambeau, and she's already climbed to the top 50 for me. Super badass origin within WandaVision. I think you see the good in Monica Rambeau through and through. There's no questions about it. She wants what's best, and I love a character that is just good. There's not a lot of questions about the motive here. Like even to a guy like Doctor Strange, we know he's a hero, but we're like, he'll be selfish every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have that worry with Monica Rambeau. Like that's going to be a good guy, and it's pretty much guaranteed. And her origin story where like when she's walking through the wall and you see all the different versions of her and then they all come together. She's hearing can I go with you? And you hear Nick Fury, only if you learn to glow like your Aunt Carol. And like, damn, like when I heard that, like that gives me chills every time.
That connection is so cool. The connection. I am super excited of the future of Monica Rambeau. And yes, was lower on my list just because of that reason, that we don't really have much of her, but of what we do have of her, is super cool. And maybe the start of like an X gene, who know, what really happened there. We haven't gotten the full explanation. But her power set is just super cool. And, I can't wait to see, what happens with her. And I hope she is in for the long haul. I hope like she is just part of the new team, like for a long time. I think she'll fit in super well.
I think so too. I think so too. And that's why I've got Monica Rambeau. She's just there's just so much to look forward to there.
My 42, it only felt fitting after Drax to put Mantis, because that's why I love these characters. Is the interactions that they have together. So and I already pretty much said why. The moment that Drax and Mantis have together is super strong. But Mantis,
you don't have to believe in yourself because I believe in you.
And she's so innocently she's just so innocent.
I'm trying to smile. I've heard it is comforting.
I mean, she held Thanos asleep with a full gauntlet on. I don't know if the gauntlet helps him stay awake or him fight that, but impressive that she did that.
I gotta go. If we're getting real down to like the logic of it, that you start to lose some steam because she put Ego to sleep.
True.
And didn't have to stay there, didn't have to hold on, just sleep.
Damn.
Or no, she did have to stay there because she was like, he's too strong. Like we only have a little bit of time, but she seemed to have a tougher time with Thanos than she did with Ego, the planet. And I get it, the varying.
Well, if she could just keep him asleep, then they just slip the gauntlet off and it's over, so, I mean, obviously they couldn't really have Thanos lose right then and there, if they just, whatever, but, I would assume the gauntlet probably helped him in some way.
But
I guess it was coming
it's like
off
obviously
of him,
not
though.
an actual gripe. I don't mind, I'm not like continuity ruined. No, like I get it. It's comic book storytelling. Powers are in flux based on who you're facing and what needs to happen. It's the only way storytelling is good is if the guaranteed thing doesn't have to happen. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Mantis, she's a fun one, man, and I look forward to anything we can get with her going forward because I don't know. She seems like she's one that's safe. I'm never like, they're not going to like kill Mantis. You know what I'm saying? And if they do, it's like, what the fuck? Why? Assholes? Like, it's just mean if they kill off Mantis. So like, she's one that I'm like, you know what? She'll be around for a little bit, for a while anyway, so I look forward to whatever we can get with Mantis in the future. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah. 42. Man.
All right, my 41. This is where I have Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow.
Ooh, okay.
Heading back into the DC bag just for a little bit. We'll be back to Marvel for the next few spots, but got slipped in a DC one here, and this is I haven't read a ton of Green Arrow. I've read a little bit. I've only just started really getting into DC Universe comics outside of Superman and Batman, because I just got DC Universe Infinite, so I've been diving in real hard. And Green Arrow, I'm only just getting my feet wet with, but as far as superhero TV is concerned, this was my first one, was Arrow with Oliver Queen. And I'll tell you what, it was a really good starting spot. Like, if you're brand new to superhero storytelling, those CW shows, while not great to people who are well versed in superhero storytelling, are really good for first time viewers. Like The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, all of these super fun, so fucking fun. You know what I'm saying? And those first couple seasons of Arrow are like dramatic and really, really well done. Malcolm Merlin and Deathstroke and all Ra's al Ghul, I think, is season 3. Like they go on and then Damien Dark in season 4. Like it's a strong run of villains that Arrow has to face, and they hype this man up to the point where you think this guy is probably one of the best superheroes you've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know, the show was just super good. The only thing I had was whenever all the other shows started to get connected with it, and you had to watch all of those and stuff. It's kind of like, Daredevil with the Defender, all those. I think the comparison I make with Marvel, like Arrow is like the Daredevil, not to the height that Daredevil is, but I watched Daredevil, and then when it started to get all connected and stuff is like wherever it started, get convoluted or whatever. But I don't know. The first couple seasons of Arrow, I remember like I binged that show hard. Like I could not put it down once I started watching. And I'm definitely glad he made the list. I forgot to put him up here, but he definitely deserves it in my top 100. So, definitely glad he's up there.
Such like one of the all-time TV badasses too. Like and like I've said, I'm not incredibly well versed with the character outside of this TV show. But I can say confidently, amongst TV shows I've watched, as far as badass protagonists go, Oliver Queen is probably top 5. Like he's up there with like Sherlock and like guys like that, where it's like, holy shit, that was really fucking cool. Like, how did he do that?
Look at him compared to Hawkeye, This is like a way fucking cooler Hawkeye. Like there's no comparison between him and Hawkeye, I don't think. It's pretty obvious. I'm going with Oliver Queen if I'm picking out of those two. 100%. But I'm definitely glad you mentioned him. But my 41, this could be a pretty sizable gap, I feel. But this is where Shang-Chi lies for me. And it is kind of, of the recency thing again. But I mean, the future is very bright for Shang-Chi. I'm pretty certain. I hope he's a pivotal role. Wong took him, so there's obviously something going on there. He's going to be involved and very important. And what we've gotten of him has been just incredible so far. That one of the best solo movies that there is in Marvel. So I'm feeling he's climbing into the top 25 comfortably after we get something else of him, and I can get more connected to him. But
I get you there. I get you, and I'd be willing to bet it's a smaller gap than you think. It's a smaller gap than you think.
I guess we're getting to the big names. We're
getting to a point where top 25. I love all these characters. You know what I'm saying? Like. I really, really enjoy those. So like we're getting to the point even now where it's like top 40. This is strong. This is like you got to be up there to be up there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Shang-Chi, really strong character, and I will get to him later this episode. Actually, he's a strong one, and I'll get more to that later. Why he doesn't break the top 25 for me as well. But yeah, with that, I'll go to my 40. This is where I have Nick Fury, as portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson. It was just one that I felt like I had to have somewhere because I love Samuel L. Jackson and I've loved him in the MCU, and he had to be here. He just had to be here, and obviously not one we've gotten a ton of an arc with. Mostly just a guy that we've seen be cool.
I don't know. We got some scroll. I think we got a lot of interesting stuff coming up with Nick Fury.
That's my thing, is that we are about to get to the heart of the story for Nick Fury.
And he's already been badass. Like I'm thinking of him in Captain Marvel. Is one of my favorites of Nick Fury. I got him.
Oh, that's easily my favorite Nick Fury appearance is Captain Marvel. Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. I love him singing there at the end to Carol. Like, they're a really cool duo, and whenever
cuts his toast diagonally. And then
I can't have toast if it's not cut down diagonally.
And at the end of the movie, isn't it cut in half, like straight up and down? Or is it diagonally? I think
I don't know.
There might be a little. I think that's why they put that in the movie, to show that like at that moment that is Skrull Nick Fury. I think. I can't remember if it was diagonally or not at the end of the movie, but I do remember he ate toast at the end whenever they're all in their house together. I have to look that up now.
Well, I mean, there were Skrulls in the house with them at that point, though. So, so maybe not at that point, but no, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long Nick Fury is. Well, they do say in No Way Home, he's been off planet for a year. So it probably is a relatively recent development whenever we see in Far From Home. And Far From Home is the second one I go to. I go Captain Marvel, then Far From Home for Nick Fury. Because his role in Far From Home is fun as fuck. Wherever, he's sitting in the room with the the darts that he shoots into Ned, and then like everyone keeps coming to the door, and he's like, if someone else knocks on that door, we're gonna have another funeral to go to.
And I was wrong. The toast thing that I was thinking of, it's an Age of Ultron that he's eating a sandwich that is cut diagonally. So I mixed some things around. So it's just that is him back there in Age
They're
of
maintaining
Ultron.
it.
Yeah, they maintain, which is just a cool detail.
Cool little detail, yeah. But Nick Fury, fun as fuck character, and Far From Home, another great Nick Fury appearance, and I love You Got Me? And then she blows the fucking drone out of the air, and she's like, I gotcha. Him and Maria Hill, super dope combo. And so Nick Fury just had to be up here for me.
Well, he'll be coming very near the end of this episode for me.
Cool.
Oh yeah. My moving on here, my 40. This is where I have Heimdall. And I don't know. You don't get a lot of Heimdall, but every time he's on screen, what a good guy Heimdall is. Badass, Soul Stone. He is the embodiment of the Soul Stone, I feel. He's got the yellow eyes. He sees everything. He's just staring into space. He's I don't know. He's so bad that his last moment, give me the strength to do this last thing, send Hulk to Earth.
His arc in Ragnarok, where he's defending the people, he's leading the people, not just defending them. They are following him. That's their leader in this moment.
I think there's a reason he guards the Bifrost, he's Heimdall, he had to have been a great warrior. He's just his character design, every moment that he's on screen. I love Heimdall. And every time I rewatch Thor, it's just any Thor movies, Heimdall just climbs for me.
He's so fucking great, and that moment where he's asking the Warriors 4 or Warriors 3 with Lady Sif, like, you plan to betray the King Loki and bring Thor back? And they're like, yes, and if you have to, good, okay. And he's like, all right, sure. Yeah, just want to open this up for you. I absolutely love that. And there's also there's that moment where Loki freezes him, and he has to break out. That's pretty fucking cool, man.
I love me some Heimdall. I don't know, top 4, these are characters that are these are big names, huge names that are starting up here, and I don't know, Heimdall fits in with all these people for me pretty comfortably. So yeah, starting my 40 with Heimdall.
All right, cool. We're off to a good start, and my 39 will be my second of the original 6 Avengers. This is where I have Bruce Banner Hulk.
Okay.
I wanted him to be higher, and at multiple points I had him higher. But when it came to it, and I was like, I want this person to be higher, the easy person to bump down was Hulk.
It's true.
And as far as comics characterization, if I was strictly going off that, he'd be a lot higher. The stuff I've read of Hulk, fucking incredible. There's a lot more than they've done justice on screen. I need to revisit the Incredible Hulk the MCU flick with Ed Norton here?
I think it's underrated. Like I watched it actually like pretty recently. I was down when I was in Branson. I was just watching a lot of Marvel movies, and I was like, I haven't seen this one in such a long time. I'm just gonna watch it. And going into it without thinking, people put it as like the lowest of the low on Marvel movies, like down there with Thor: Dark World, or whatever. And Thor: Dark World's not even that bad in the first place, anyways.
Yeah.
But after rewatching it, after getting past a little bit of the cheesiness, of the movie, like there's a lot of super cool Hulk moments in that movie that they just don't even bring up like ever again. Like he claps like on like a street, like down when he's is he fighting
Abomination?
Yeah, it was Abomination. Yeah, right. And he just like you just see him just whoosh, and just a ripple down out. It was like just so like I don't know. They made the Hulk feel powerful in this movie that you don't really get in the MCU.
They've just mistreated the character. The fact that the figuring out how to combine the personalities of Banner and Hulk happens off screen. What a fucking smite to Hulk fans. Like, imagine being like, Hulk's my favorite character, and then last movie, the last time he appeared, he couldn't get Hulk to come out. Oh, and then now we've figured out how to fucking merge them? That's so annoying.
And then in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, he's just back to Banner again, and who knows if that's just like they didn't.
I think that was probably
CGI
just a cost-effectiveness thing. They were like, we're not going to CG Professor Hulk for this.
But maybe there is some, like with She-Hulk,
maybe we get
some, I don't know.
I'm hoping She-Hulk is the answer there. We'll figure it out there, I'm hoping. But yeah, and I think the more I read of Hulk, the more he climbs and climbs. The comic book characterization of Hulk is really, really intriguing, really, really fun, really, really sad and devastating at other points too.
When he's like the last remaining.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really cool storylines with Hulk. He won't make it in this episode for me, but very early next episode. But it would be one that probably could fall a little below some of these other characters. But I think his iconicism is what truly had it for me. And I was thinking of the comics and coming off of rewatching Incredible Hulk recent. I don't know. I think I'm liking him more.
Confident.
And it's not I don't know. It's not his fault. It's not the Hulk's fault. It's just just the way the MCU treated him, which is sad. But yeah, he'll be coming up for me a little bit later. But
cool.
Fitting right there. My 39. This is where I have Mystique. For me, I got a few more X-Men coming up here. They kind of only if like X-Men, they kind of come in like pairs, like just kind of
come in waves.
Yeah, come in waves. But the reason Mystique is up higher than Cyclops and Beast is I think her storyline is just stronger. You connect with her more, and her whole embracing herself, her going off with Magneto. There's a lot more just I think cool moments with Mystique and her in Days of Future Past. I don't know, everything that I've seen of Mystique is amazing. The only thing that I really hate is in Dark Phoenix, how they just kind of kill her for no real reason. And it was like, okay, cool. Wow. I can't believe
that's
that
my
just
biggest
happened.
gripe.
But the character itself, super cool design. A blue character, and you don't get many blue people.
Right.
And just she can be anyone, but she chooses to be herself, after a lot. And I just I don't know, the X-Men, the found family aspect and everything about it. Just as I keep watching more, they just keep rising and rising. But yeah, it's where Raven, where Mystique is for me. So.
All right, cool. I'm gonna stick with you in the X-Men vein here for 38. This is where I have Rogue. I love me some Rogue, man. That Southern Belle with truly some of the most impressive power there is in all of Marvel. Like she has the ability to fuck with anybody.
She could be number one. If she were to go up to He Who Remains, what would happen there?
Yeah, it's interesting because is is it just superpower?
Mm.
And I think it is. Like, I don't think she can absorb intelligence as far as what I've seen. I think she can only absorb power. So like when it comes to like now, one of the interesting ones to think about is like, what if she went to the Scarlet Witch? What happens there? You know, because like even Captain Marvel feels more tangible. Like it's like that's a power I feel like you can absorb. Scarlet Witch, chaos magic, it feels a little different. You know, like I feel like that's something that like she'd touch her and like corrupt and like kill.
She ever
her,
touched
you know,
like a celestial or?
Not as far as I know, probably. There's probably something there, like, because there's just so much X-Men content there's ever, and definitely the books I'm most well versed in. Definitely the most under my belt in that category. Besides, like maybe Batman and Superman, but X-Men are certainly up there. And yeah, as far as what I've read, I haven't seen that, but it'd be a cool concept. I wonder just how high her powers can take her. Like how what's the ceiling? Is there a ceiling? It'll be interesting to think about. And I'm super excited for however they decide to adapt her into the MCU. Can't wait for the X-Men animated series to return. X-Men 97, that'll be a fucking dream, you know? And but yeah, Rogue at 38.
My 38 is where I have Quicksilver.
Ralph Boner.
But nah, Quicksilver, out of the X-Men, one of, I don't know, just a speedster, I feel like done right. Well, not in Ultron. I'm not really thinking of that Quicksilver.
Right.
I'm thinking more of, you know, the Quicksilver the iconic. Exactly. That scene alone is one of just my favorite X-Men scenes just in general. Him playing ping pong with himself, you know,
he's like, I checked you guys on the way in.
And whenever they're breaking Magneto out and he in the kitchen, you know, or whatever, and him just is this?
You see him like tap someone's cheek and it like ripples like it's punching them in the face. Like,
I don't know.
Oh, that is truly a like. I think the two best on-screen portrayals of speedsters we've gotten:
Makari and Quicksilver.
And Quicksilver, and then like the Flash and Zack Snyder's Justice League is pretty strong.
Flash is loaded. But if you think of a speedster, the first speedster to come to mind is the Flash. You know, most likely for everyone,
but not because of the on-screen portrayal, just because of who he is.
Yeah.
The scene I think of in terms of like the best speedster scenes are Quicksilver's. Like there's no doubt when the mansion's falling apart and when he's breaking Magneto out of prison. And you know his technically Wanda's brother, technically Magneto's son. Maybe there's something we'll see there. Eventually, I'm intrigued as far as how they'll handle that, or if they'll even touch it, or if they'll even try. Because I still think there's a right around there that you can manage with. But
maybe there's some Agatha stuff going on there with Ralph Boner. I don't know. Maybe it's a big part of the plan to eventually take over. I don't know. Like maybe there is something there that we're just missing. Maybe it isn't just a Boner joke.
Cheap fucking trick.
But
to be like, yeah, we'll get a guy who has played Quicksilver, and at the beginning of this multiversal conflict thing that we've got going, we know it's in their minds. They'll think, oh, maybe it's just that Quicksilver, but it's not. It's just a guy named Ralph Boner.
Maybe it was just to manage expectations. Maybe it was like, don't expect to see everybody that because like in the acting world, that just can't happen. There's just logistics and stuff that goes behind all this stuff. So maybe it's just like a way to manage expectations, but who knows? Maybe it does turn into something. Maybe that is just a small seed that, they have planned for the future. I don't know. Because the actor, I don't know if it was after WandaVision or before, was asked a question of the MCU and he's like, I can't even legally answer that or something like that. I think that was before WandaVision, before his cameo.
It was before WandaVision. It was because Dark Phoenix was coming out and they were on a press run about like how like people were asking them questions like, would it be cool to see like your characters reprised in the MCU eventually? And like you see everyone else and you see Evan Peters go, Like he like opens his eyes and like kind of like looks side to side like like, oh, I'm already in talks. Which is kind of outstanding. But yeah, that's a really good one to have here. I had him a little bit lower, but a lot of bit lower. I had him in like my 80s or something like that.
Why'd they kill him the way they did in Ultron, man? It just doesn't make any sense at all for a speedster. Like
you literally watch him in Days of Future Past. Grab and move bullets. Fuck it, man. We talked about this a second ago with like powers changing based on what the situation is. So that the storytelling can be told. You know, like I'll take it. It launched Wanda and it launched her to be the character she is now. And I've got her next episode. So I'll take it. But, you know, I miss Aaron Taylor Johnson as Quicksilver too, man. Cause he was fucking fantastic as Pietro.
Didn't see that one coming.
You didn't see that one coming?
God.
And then they made his last line a joke. I don't know.
Yeah. What?
Like a little callback. Like it was a moment for like, and the reason it really rubs you the wrong way is because it's a moment for Hawkeye, and it's like, fuck.
Of all people to save, you know, maybe if you save, you know, Wanda or
yeah, literally anyone else there.
Anyone else? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. He 38 for me. I don't know. I like me some Quicksilver. Like me some speedsters.
All right. Cool. So I'll move on with my 37. This is where I have Wade Wilson's Deadpool. You know, I wanted him higher. I tried to manage it. But there's like as entertaining as his movies are, there's not a lot gravitating me towards the character itself. I think Ryan Reynolds is incredible in the role. I think the character is funny as fuck and very fun. And it has moved me to tears on multiple occasions. But it's and you know, he still is 37, you know, he's still top 40. So like this is amongst the characters I really do love. But he doesn't reach the heights of some other characters just for I couldn't even really articulate the reasons for you. Like it's just kind of doesn't feel right to have him above certain characters. But I was comfortable putting him here, you know, and I think I look forward to whatever the hell we've gotten in store for Deadpool in the future. Recently confirmed that Deadpool 3 will be directed by Sean Levy, who did Free Guy, who did The Atom Project, and has done a lot of Stranger Things. So Deadpool 3, even if they don't go all the way in with as raunchy as it's been, I think we can count on it being every bit as good, you know, because Free Guy and The Atom Project are perfect examples of what Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds are capable of together. Like this just electrically fun movie, still super funny. And so you don't get as many dick jokes. All right. You know, that'll be okay.
Yeah, I got him coming up early next episode. So I guess I did manage to put him up a little higher. But looking at the characters that are below him, maybe they deserve a little bump up from him. After you said like you can't really connect to his character a whole lot, you know. I think I was just thinking of the movies and how funny they are and how much I enjoyed them, you know, for his character.
Deadpool's another one, along with Hulk, who was top 25 at some point. And then, like, as I kept building out the list, I was like, I'd like this person to move up. Who can I move down? And those two were subject to that quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think the movies are good enough in themselves to have Deadpool up in my top 25, just for how much I love those movies. So I think
it's fully warranted.
And I mean, I'll come back to say like anyone can be interchangeable, like pretty much right here. Like it's all like I love all these characters.
It's kind of depending on the day in some capacity, depending on what I've watched the most recently and stuff like that. But you know, and I will say for Deadpool, there's not a single other Marvel or DC character I can honestly say I see as many bumper stickers and car decor as I do Deadpool. Being a delivery driver, I've seen many a car on the road, And I cannot tell you how many people love Deadpool to the capacity that they're decorating their cars with Deadpool garb.
True. Now that you mention that, that's like, I think I see Deadpool more than like
any other superhero.
Like maybe Superman.
Yeah, the S and the Batman logo are pretty big. Like it's like, but I don't see Spider-Man logo.
Yeah.
I see Deadpool's a lot more than I do anyone else.
That's interesting you bring that up. What? Definitely true. I didn't realize that until you said it, but like now that I'm just thinking of, like, literally yesterday I saw like 2 cars with a Deadpool, like we were driving and we're like, we saw one and then like the next one came up, like, oh, another Deadpool, like literally meant like literally yesterday, like that this case, like, that's very interesting.
Just interesting things to think about.
Well, I guess moving on from my 37, this is where my Groot stands, where he falls for me.
I am Groot.
And it's kind of for the next character that he's coming along with. For I do a lot of duos. Groot on his own. Yeah, Groot on his own. It doesn't really seem like a 37, character in Marvel. But I do love the Guardians movies that much, to where I do think it even though if the character isn't that strong, just him being involved in the family of the movies that I love and hold to, such a high standard, means something. And for the person who's coming next, I think, just their dichotomy works really well together. And Groot has some strong moments. He forms Stormbreaker. That's him doing that.
Pretty big one.
And
when he and Rocket pull up with Thor in Infinity War, it's like, man, who knew this was one of the things I always wanted? You know what I'm saying?
Him protecting everyone, wrapping everyone around in like the fireflies, Oh, come on. It's Vin Diesel, which like I didn't know until like I think the second Guardians movie. I didn't realize.
How about the easiest check in Hollywood, bro? This man is living.
I wonder how much he made.
So much money. So much money to say I am Groot and we are Groot in different tones. It's incredible. He's even baby Groot.
$54.5 million for saying those words.
The easiest check in Hollywood, bro. The easiest check.
That's nuts. I don't feel bad for him being 38 anymore. That's just like that's a bag right there. Wow. You know what? I don't feel bad for putting him up this high anymore, even though other characters that I mentioned before are far greater in character development and arcs and everything other than Groot. But I don't know. I love Guardians. And Groot's just, I don't know. He's a comfort character. How can you hate Groot?
I might have had him real low here. Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
Groot. I've got like a Groot poster on my wall. Like it's saying I had him pretty low, but I love me some Groot. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as like he's on like I made this comparison like Chewbacca. I love Chewbacca with all my fucking heart. But like when I get down to it and I'm breaking down like character arcs and what's my favorite and what's this, Chewbacca's probably not as high. And like you fall into the same thing with Groot.
Chewbacca heightens Han as Groot heightens Rocket. So like I think that's a good way to put it. But that's my 37, Groot. All
right. My 36. This is where I have Wilson Fisk Kingpin.
Ooh.
This is one that I had higher, and you'll find that this is that section where it was like I had them higher, and then these other ones got filed in where I was like, yeah, they just can't be the top 25. Vanessa, you embarrassed me in front of Vanessa.
You like that Wilson Fisk more? Or like Into the Spider-Verse Wilson Fisk? Kingpin.
Oh, I mean, definitely Vincent D'Onofrio.
Fair. I mean, you get so much more.
I will say my favorite embodiment, like just like looking at the guy, like, oh, that's Wilson Fisk, isn't in either the Daredevil series or Into the Spider-Verse. It's the Daredevil movie with Michael Clark Duncan as Fisk. when you see that man, it's like, okay, yeah, that's a dude who would be Wilson Fisk. You know, like that's a badass who you do not want to fuck with. I can see me pushing Vincent D'Onofrio's buttons, you know, like you look like a giant man baby.
Which he kind of is.
Which he kind of is, you know, like he has the temper tantrums of a giant man baby, and it's just kind of like you never know what he's going to do. But I wouldn't even question fucking with Michael Clark Duncan's Fisk. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a guy where I'll be like, all right, that's cool. You know what? Do you, man?
You're all good. Yeah. Good, man.
Yeah. And you know, like I wouldn't fuck with Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin either. That's a very large man.
Getting a blind Kingpin, you think?
Yeah. Bro. I'm really excited, you know, and we got that edition of Daredevil on Disney Plus recently, and it's not in the Marvel Legacy section. Which is where, you know, Fantastic Four and the X-Men movies are and stuff. Stuff that's outside of canon. It got its own little section where it's like, maybe, we'll see. It's halfway in between right now. It's called the Defender Saga, which makes sense. So there were Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and Luke Cage and the Defenders. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see where they can go with that. And I hope Daredevil, Fisk, and Echo, these characters can still kind of stay in the same realm together. But yeah, Kingpin and Vincent D'Onofrio's portrayal as Kingpin, one of my favorites, one of my favorite castings and performances in any comic book movie role ever. So Kingpin had to get pretty high up on here. And another one that was at one point closer to the 25 and just kept getting bumped down because it's like, you know, I am a sucker for the heroes. So sometimes the villains it'll be at the cost of the villains getting bumped down.
That's fair. I mean,
oh yeah,
you can connect with heroes a whole lot easier than you can a villain. So
yeah, and like you've got to be an iconic villain to be pretty high. You know what I'm saying? And that'll be reflected. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, my 37, I already pretty much said it's Rocket. Coming after Groot.
You're 36.
36. Oh yeah, sorry. 36. Rocket. And it's because this is the real reason Groot is up here. It's to strengthen Rocket's character and
Groot, no.
Oh man, of the blips, that's one of the hardest to watch.
What did they do to you?
I'd say of the blips that are the hardest that I remember, it's Groot, Spidey, and T'Challa. Like those are the three blips that were just like, like god damn, like, and in the theater for the first time, like, you know, like we didn't know what was happening. We thought like these characters are dead, you know, like they're dead, or like we're watching this.
Well, and you know, there was a singular character getting blipped that made me go, okay, they'll come back somehow, and it was T'Challa.
Yeah, fair.
But like, you know, other than that though, it was like they could be done.
What just happened?
You know,
like this. Oh man, what But Rocket, you know, he's just so just a devastating character. You know, that's the Guardians, their found family. I love his obsession with like prosthetics, or you know, like I got to get that arm, or you know, he gets the eye. You wouldn't believe what I had to do to get that eye. You know, or
you need to get me that guy's leg to get out of here.
And I imagine this, like the ultimate Rocket is just he has all of the, you know, he has the Winter Soldier arm. Out. Thor's eye somehow has like Thor's powers. I don't know, like, you know, just like just ultimate Rocket, you know.
Legend.
But
I'm not a raccoon. All right, Trash Panda. Is that better? Does anybody know? Is that better?
But
it's so much worse. That shit's so fucking funny.
I love me some Rocket. Love me the Guardians crew. So
they're fantastic. They are fantastic. That's a good addition there. My 35. This is where I've got Moon Knight. This will be the highest. And you know, by the time this episode comes out, Moon Knight will have had some on-screen portrayal. As far as the MCU and, I mean, all of it is concerned. It's his first on-screen portrayal ever.
Oscar Isaac, baby.
But as we stand, This is the highest rated character I have that has not appeared on screen.
It's got to be good though. He's got to be
strictly
good.
Strictly comic knowledge for me here. I've read a lot of Moon Knight, and he's super cool. Just such a badass character, and Oscar Isaac playing the role, and this dark side of the universe. It seems like we're getting into with like I don't know if you saw the clip that was released earlier. That was like Ethan Hawke's character summoning demons from the ground. It looked like you see like a zombie hand reaching up above the ground. Like, I don't know, could be really cool, and could be a really easy way to incorporate a couple other characters into that side of the universe, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, Moon Knight, super cool. Cannot wait for what's to come there, and just not much to say right now. We're covering Moon Knight week to week, probably as this happens. So go ahead and go check that out. Very, very excited about that. But yeah, all the Moon Knight talk you can get over there.
All right, my 35. This is where the Mad Titan is for me, Thanos.
Bring me Thanos.
I mean, I felt he had to be sort of high up just because of the impact he has on the MCU. I mean, it's what everything was leading towards. One of the biggest moments in cinema history. I don't know. It's such a weird villain that you sort of understand, and you don't empathize with him, but you sort of see where he's coming from.
You generally get it. You're not like he's like you shouldn't be all in on the he's right. No, he's not right. He wants to kill half of people.
I mean, in the MCU, they show like people side with Thanos. Like maybe Thanos was right. That's how some people feel. Like, maybe that's just because they were in such a low place that they just had to accept what happened was right. Maybe people didn't truly believe in what he did, but it was just the world changed so, drastically after that they just had to cope with something. So maybe just saying he was right was a way to cope, but, I don't know. He's the villain, of the MCU. The little seeds that were planted very, very early on. I don't know, just, we all know Thanos. I think he's going to be, one of the most iconic Marvel villains to probably ever exist for quite a while. So, but yeah, that's where he falls for me, 35.
I mean, there will be a whole generation of kids who grow up with Thanos being the iconic villain of their childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll be formative on a lot of people for a very long time, and I think that might be our biggest difference so far. Is 56 spots.
And I have a thing for villains. I can appreciate villains a little bit more, I think. But yeah, 35 for me.
Strong. My 34. This is where I have Shang-Chi. I liked Shang-Chi. It was more this is a similar thing as Deadpool for me. It was more the movie than the character himself that really, really made me love that movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's only one that's subject to change. Like, he will only go up. There's no way he goes down. There was just in that movie, it's interesting. He's probably, I know I have Wenwu and Jia Ling below him, but like as I'm watching the movie, they're my favorite parts of the movie over Shang-Chi. You know what I'm saying? Like, now as far as the character pieces, like the way he had to go and assassinate a man at 14 and stuff like that. Like that's a really riveting story. But like in terms of like when I want to see Jia Ling and Wenwu I want to see them do their shit. You know what I'm saying? But Shang-Chi, still a super badass and an Avenger now. Will only he's only going to get cooler and cooler. The Kung Fu master of the MCU, going to Ta Lo and mastering their fight style and stuff. Like that was just it was a really great arc for him, and to take from both his mother and his father to channel this energy to fight him that one last time. That was super cool, and definitely going to be top 25.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
Oh yeah,
you know, just not quite there yet.
My 34. I'm interested to see where he falls for you, but this is where I have my Falcon. And I mean, after Falcon and Winter Soldier, I mean, he was, I guess, kind of, I don't know, that's just what these TV shows do, is take some side characters and just make them so much better. Give them so much better of a story, a deep dive into them. And his story was just so good. Him becoming Captain America, that final episode, man, I have to rewatch that sometime soon. But oh my God, what a moment! Like, and
it's so powerful.
Future for him. I mean, he can only go up from here too, you know. And I'm super excited to see what they do with him, and what, I don't know what he becomes. But man, as Captain America, he's already badass. Like that, Captain America who can fly, you know. Right. I mean, we see him bust through that window, and it's just all gas from there. It just, man. But I love me some Falcon.
All right. Yeah, he will not be this week.
I didn't think so. I figured.
Yeah, he will be next week. And I'm excited to get there, especially like I think next week's going to be a real interesting one in terms of like, because at that point there's this blend in my top 25 of characters who need to be there. You know, like they have to be top 25. How are they not top 25? And then characters that are like, I like these characters that much that they're above those characters who had to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's a fun one. But Sam Wilson will definitely be appearing next week for me. But yeah, with that, on to my 33. This is where I have Wonder Woman. This is, if I remember correctly, probably a pretty sizable gap for us as well. I love me some Wonder Woman. You know, I love that movie from 2017, directed by Patty Jenkins. It was fantastic. And Wonder Woman 84, definitely not the strongest film, but entertaining nonetheless. And I think another great portrayal was Zack Snyder's Justice League. I loved her in that. There's just a lot of great Wonder Woman content out there. And, you know, I grew up watching the old Wonder Woman series over at my grandparents' house. That was like I loved growing up on that old shit with like Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, Adam West as Batman, like all that. Like that was definitely way before our time, but it made its way to me somehow. And so that was definitely, Wonder Woman's one of those nostalgic ones for me. And Justice League, the animated series back in the day, loved her in that. That was a huge one for me. But yeah, just a really strong heroine who, you know, is not to be fucked with by any means.
Very interesting. You have Wonder Woman here. This is like a start of a very strong female. Like I have super strong female roles coming up here, like a big train of them,
Gotcha.
which is pretty cool that it just kind of lined up that way. But my 33 is where I have Peggy Carter.
Peggy.
And her in What If, I think is what really rose her. The name I have is Agent Carter down here. And it's her in What If was just so cool. Like that episode, was it the first one?
Yeah, it was such a strong way to kick off that series.
And just the concept of What If is just amazing. You know, just that one little change, you know, Peggy goes in instead of Steve, and how much that changes everything. And how badass she immediately is. Like, I thought you were more than just the Shield or whatever. And she goes, well, let's dance, you know, like, and just goes and beats the crap out of everybody. You know, she's just so badass. I don't know. She was like the focal point of What If. She's like the center, like a huge, like always big in the graphics.
Again, another character to be rumored to be a relatively large part of Multiverse of Madness. And whatever I can get, with Peggy Carter, she's a super cool character, one that actually I don't think I put on my list, but definitely should have been here at some point. It's kind of ridiculous she wasn't, but and it really is that What If and the first Avenger. Man, the first Avenger is such a, I think it doesn't have a bad rap because like it's not the best by any means. Like it's definitely not the best Captain America movie, but there's a nostalgia to it that I get every time I watch it. There's this such an easy villain to hate, Nazis.
Fair.
How are you not going to root against the Nazis? You know what I'm saying? And Hydra and stuff, like they all suck. And Peggy Carter being the love interest for Steve Rogers in that movie, and them flipping the script in What If and maintaining it. Like, it's like, regardless, it's not just because Steve got jacked. It's she could have got jacked and Steve could have stayed scrawny and they still would have fallen in love. And I think that's a really awesome storyline to maintain. And the callbacks to that, Steve being the one who falls instead of Bucky because he's the best friend to Peggy. And
oh man. Oh, it's just like, that's why I love What If. I mean, What If is just, you get every itch, every little piece of serotonin you could possibly ask for. And they don't have to say anything. It's just like these moments that happen, a one line could be said that has like so much history behind it that you just hear and you're like, oh my God, what a line to hear, or like something like that. And, but yeah, 33 for me, starting a strong female train here. Peggy does. So
love the strong, powerful women, and I believe I have I've got a good slate coming up. But my 32, I got I got an interesting format to the last few here, where I've got 2 villains, 3 heroes, 2 villains. But Dr. Octopus is at my 32. And this was tough for me. Was grappling with Spider-Man villains versus Batman villains, and what's more important to me historically, what's resonated with me on a deeper level. And ultimately you'll see that the Batman villains did end up prevailing, just because it's what regardless though, Doc Ock, part of defining my childhood. Spider-Man 2, massive. The power of the sun in the palm of my hand, such an awesome idea for a character. Man, just so strong. And his redemption in No Way Home, huge. Like, now it's an arc. Like, you can watch Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home back to back, and I'd say more so than any other movie out of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, any of it, that would hit the hardest is Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home back to back. Maybe Spider-Man and No Way Home back to back. I haven't tried to do that.
Very interesting. Yeah. Now that you bring that up, that's like,
it'll be a fun little.
Maybe every time I want to watch No Way Home, I'll just watch one Spider-Man movie before, and then watch it after.
Get the full fucking thing with the characters, and I bet I'd be willing to bet Amazing Spider-Man 2 is probably pretty strong too, but with Electro,
and then Gwen and like that. Okay. That's a good. I got to do that.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 and the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'd be willing to bet those hit harder than any other before No Way Home. And but yeah, Doc Ock, I had to have him here, and Alfred Molina, fantastic. I imagine he's probably top 25 for you.
He is.
As so will my next one. But yeah, Doc Ock at 32.
My 32. This is where I have Harley Quinn. And just keeping that female train going. I'm thinking one of my favorite Harley Quinn. She is a queen. But Harley Quinn scenes is like the flower power scene where she's just like with the spear, just like going off on everybody.
Fantastic.
And
the javelin.
Oh man. The javelin. That's right.
To carry my javelin.
And I don't know, her character, she's always been just super iconic. And I like that now she's like her own character and not just, someone with the Joker. That she truly has become her own character.
Puddin'.
But Mr. J. her in the Arkham games, she's awesome. Her in everything. Her character design is amazing. But what I really love is the new adaptation of her. And I don't know. I think
I got her next week. I do. And one of the things that assured me in that was that she is James Gunn's favorite DC character.
Interesting.
Like and whenever he's asked who's your favorite DC character, it's Harley Quinn. And like that's a statement right there, having Harley Quinn be your favorite DC character. Like, and like I was like, you know what? Okay, I feel really good about where I have Harley Quinn. Then. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, she'll be next week for me. But she's fantastic, and I can't recommend enough. I think one thing that would boost her for you is that animated series. The Harley Quinn animated series on HBO Max is some of the funniest superhero content you'll ever get. Wildly entertaining. One of the things I wish I could go back and watch for the first time again, just because I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Such a fun, like all over the DC universe, incorporating so many villains, so many heroes. It's fun as fuck. Strongly recommend that. But
awesome.
Yeah, Harley Quinn, super badass. My 31. This is where I got the Gob, Mr. Gabby, Green Goblin.
Okay. Yeah, mine come together too.
Yeah. Because I don't hold one over the other and too much. You know, like they had to be right next to each other, Goblin and Octopus, if I was going to have them, and I was going to have them. I always was, but grappling with the Batman villains that I'll get to here in a little bit versus these two Spider-Man villains, I was just like, yes, I watched the Spider-Man movies all the time when I was younger. But I'll get to it. But I'm very excited to get to that part of the episode. But Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn in that first movie was another childhood-defining villain. The way Thanos will be for a whole generation of other kids, Goblin was that for me when I was younger. You know, like that was a defined an era of villains for me. Like it's such an interesting, like Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Darth Maul. I tie all those together because they're the late 90s, early 2000s villains that I grew up with.
I mean, all we needed in that No Way Home trailer was a pumpkin bomb and a laugh. You know, that's all we needed. That dude is a menace.
Norman's on sabbatical, honey.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
I'm something of a scientist myself.
So, but yeah, he will be next episode. I mean, he's right with Doc Ock, right as you have him. But oh yeah, definitely a huge part of my childhood. That's for sure.
Oh yeah,
and Dafoe.
You're done, Gobby.
I don't think it's Dafoe. Actually, I think it's. I heard there was a clip of him in like high school performing, and they asked him, "What's your name?" And I forgot how they pronounce, but it's not Dafoe. I think he says like
Defoe.
I don't know. I forgot what it was, but it was like I heard it. I'm like, I'm gonna stick with Dafoe. I don't like. I can't think of it as any other than William Dafoe.
Well,
like I don't know. Like
I once watched and How I Met Your Mother. There's this scene where the gang goes to a really upscale party in a penthouse in Manhattan. It's really top drawer, sophisticated motherfuckers, right? And they're creating conversation about all these all this really, really high end shit. And like, they're like, I don't even know what this is about. And one of them mentions Willem Dafoe, and one of them jumps on that as hey, have you ever realized that Willem Dafoe's name sounds like a frog and a bird talking to each other? Then he goes, what? And he goes, Willem Dafoe, Willem Dafoe. And every time I hear it now, it's all I can think of. It's the fact that his name sounds like a fucking frog and a bird talking to each other.
Huh. Wow. Yeah, I'm watching the William Dafoe is how he said it.
Willem Dafoe?
But Dafoe is how he said it back in like high school. But the clip that I'm watching, he admits to pronouncing his own name wrong in high school. It's not actually Dafoe. He just said it wrong in high school because he was nervous. Whenever like it came up. So it
gotcha. That's funny.
But yeah. Yeah, he'll be coming up next episode. But
I was gonna say that'd be interesting if his name was Defoe, because there's this thing with a lot of celebrities where once your name is like said somewhere once, it can never not be that again. Like Ariana Grande is actually Ariana Grande.
What?
Yeah, like that's a real thing. Her name is Grande.
Wow.
And
wow.
The chick who plays Maeve, Thandie Newton, was credited in her first movie as Thandie Newton. It was wrong. Her name is Thandiwe, with a W between the I and the E, and it was never changed until like last year, where she was like, "I'm finally at a standing in Hollywood where I feel comfortable enough to go, actually, my name is this."
Damn, that's crazy. People just pronouncing your name wrong, and you have to go with it just because like branding and like you can't like or whatever. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, if his name's actually Willem Dafoe, that'd be kind of crazy that he had to go like, because Dafoe, that's an iconic actor right there, Willem Dafoe.
Got the drip.
I'm something of a drippy myself.
But moving on here, keeping the female train going, my 31. I'm interested to see where she lies for you, but this is where Captain Marvel is for me. And of the other two females that are coming up here on the train, I think she could be the top of the females now that I've like recently gone back and watched Captain Marvel a lot of times, and I don't know, it's becoming one of my favorite solo movies out of the MCU. And
for me, you know, I have her next week too. Another one that'll rise probably a little higher than most would think. It's premiered as potentially the most rewatchable movie in the MCU for me. If you like, I can't fathom. It's the most sci-fi. Like as you're watching it, like the alien battles and the technology they incorporate, and like if you're a sci-fi fan, I don't know how you don't like Captain Marvel.
Well,
like
there's an obvious reason why people don't like.
There's
Captain
an obvious
Marvel.
reason for the majority. Like, and again, in the sci-fi realm, that makes sense. But
super sad.
But the movie itself, outside the character, like I can get gripes with like CGI and stuff. Like there are moments where it's like it can be shoddy, but like you got to freeze frame it. Like I can't stand gripes with CGI when they're like pause a shot. It's like, well, guess what? You weren't supposed to pause it. It's supposed to play.
Yeah, you're watching a movie. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not a painting, for Christ's sakes. It's a fucking movie. But yeah, Captain Marvel, just such an electric character, and yeah, Carol Danvers rocks.
And yeah, I'll let you speak on her.
I get so excited.
Next,
I got so excited. I forgot it was your character that we were talking about.
But I don't know. She, you know, in this female train, I'm looking at the two that are above her, and I'm feeling that she edges them out a little bit. After like, because this list was made, I guess. I don't know, a little bit ago,
a couple weeks back.
And I have done a lot of Marvel rewatching since then, and I don't know, my two, like, I'd say my top 3 solo movies for Marvel have become Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, and Shang-Chi are like my top 3 solo Marvel movies. And I don't know, I think we're going to get more Captain Marvel in the future, so she can only be a character who goes up. So, but yeah,
I'm very, very excited for the future of that character. Cannot wait for the sequel. But yeah, that's a good one to have there. My 30, and judging by what the things you've said, this might be, I don't know, this might be the one time in this list we might come close to lining up. This is where I have Jean Grey.
Oh, no way! We done did it.
We did it. 30, huh?
We did it.
Yes, 30 being Jean Grey for both of us.
Awesome.
I was like, you know, I had to have her up here. You know, I got a couple X-Men characters coming up. I love me some Jean Grey. I love the Phoenix, and you know, she's a super badass. You know, and one of the more electric on-screen portrayals from Sophie Turner in the Phoenix. You know, and Dark Phoenix. I think that movie has its issues. no doubt, but they're not on Sophie Turner. They're not on the visual effects. They're not on the action sequences. Like that is those, and that's I do want the story side of the Phoenix to be executed properly, and that it kind of falters there a little bit. But man, if you can portray it on screen the way they did, I'll be okay with it from now on. If that's how they want to go about portraying the Phoenix, because it was so fucking cool.
Yeah, that's probably a sin to put Phoenix outside of the top 10 according to Aurora.
She would have a fucking fit over here if she was. Well, she'll listen to this.
That's the thing, though, is that
go, what the fuck?
I mean, this is the top 30 here. Like these are the top 30 of comic book characters. So like all of these names are huge and amazing, and the fact that Phoenix is this high up with how kind of little that we've gotten of her comparatively to everyone else that's on this list is incredible. And one of the only like comic book runs that I've ever like actually dove into and engaged in. And it was super cool. I don't know, the concept of the Phoenix is amazing. And everything surrounding the character, I think, is great. But in saying that, we did line up there with the 100 comic book characters.
I was thinking it might not happen. Yeah. I was thinking it might not happen in this one, as it happened. I think it happened twice with the Star Wars one, but happened here with Jean Grey.
Wow,
which that's perfect. That's just perfect. I love that for us. But with that, since we both had Jean Grey at 30, I'll go on to my 29. And this is where I have Professor X, Mr. Charles Xavier. I love Professor X in many respects, and there are many respects in which I'm like, damn, bro, you kind of an asshat sometimes.
Egotistical.
That's the only reason he kind of falls out of my top 25 is because like he often means well, and he almost always does. But there's plenty of times where he's a little too much for me. He's a little full of himself, and who can blame him? Like he's very intelligent, can read people's minds, knows what everyone's thinking. If there's anyone who can have a superiority complex, it's someone who can hear everyone else's deepest and darkest thoughts. He's like, well, better than you.
He could kill everyone on Earth. Like he almost did. Or every mutant on Earth.
According to Logan, it's like there was a time in the past where Professor X nearly wiped out everything with one of his seizures.
Definitely quite a powerful character, and him popping up in the trailer for Multiverse of Madness, hearing his voice.
We should tell him the truth.
Super cool there. If they're gonna call it the Illuminati, who knows? I don't really know there, but I mean, in Iron Man 2, on Tony's phone when he's in the courtroom, whenever he's like hacking the TV to put stuff up there, there's an app on there that says the Illuminati, like on his phone already in Iron Man 2, which is nuts. So
okay, well, has anyone considered the possibility of like actually Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man being a part of it and it not being Tom Cruise? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, who knows? I don't know why everyone just latched onto Tom Cruise so quickly. Like, this is Supreme Tony Stark. It has to be Tom Cruise because he's always wanted to play Iron Man but not have a mask, blah, blah, blah. Like, it has to be Tom Cruise. But, like, wouldn't you want it to be Robert Downey Jr., the Iron Man we've been with, like, and just seeing him at his full potential? Like, I don't know. I guess, we've had, his send off, and maybe it wouldn't be great to just bring him right back in.
And that's ultimately why, is because like I'm of the mind that we shouldn't dip back into the RDJ bag for real. I think what they did with his character is one of the examples of something that should be left alone. They
did it right.
They did it right.
Beginning and there's like a book.
There are very few things that a lot of people can agree on the MCU doing right, and I think that's one of the things is the send off for Tony Stark. But Professor X at 29, it had to be such. I enjoy Professor X a great deal.
Well, moving on, my 29. This is where the top of the female train ends, and it's Black Widow. This was the one where I was saying, like, this is kind of where Captain Marvel and Black Widow are interchangeable.
Gotcha.
But I think when I made this list, I came off of watching Black Widow, like the most recent Marvel movie that I watched. And I think that's why she edged out Captain Marvel there. But I don't know, especially in What If, Black Widow there. The Black Widow and Hawkeye dichotomy they had, them finding the file, watches like, it's right there. It's right there, or
We're
whatever.
Looking at it.
And I don't know. I love,
no, what are you doing?
That Black Widow movie is so underrated. I think it just came out at a time that was a little weird. It was like Disney Plus, you had to pay for it to watch. It was kind of, it just,
and
weird.
It'd been delayed over and over and over.
And it was after Endgame, but before, took place beforehand, and everyone was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of a weird, oddly placed movie, but if you just rewatch it, take all that out of your mind, go back, it is such a beautiful movie.
Frankly, I think it's sadly the way it was received. I think it denied us the chance of having more stories like this, stories where we can go back to what happened in the Infinity Saga and plug stories in, what happened in between. I think this was the opportunity to, launch that as a possibility. Black Widows was, and the way it was received, we're not going to get those in between stories. But I would have loved for more of those Rogue One types, the ones that are like, okay, you saw the big thing. Here's what happened in between the big things. Like, here's what made the big thing possible. And stories like that. It could have just been really cool. And I don't know that we'll get many more just because of the way it was received. But God, a lot to look forward to. Hopefully in the Black Widow realm. I don't think we'll see much more of her, but not Natasha Romanoff. But Yelena Belova's on the rise. Oh yeah. So
hopefully we get a lot more Yelena. But man, that movie, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. It's got a lot to. All these movies are just so rewatchable. I think like once we get to these characters, like every character that we're going to mention, it's going to be like, man, I got to watch that movie again. This movie was so good.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's my 29, Black Widow.
All right. My 28. This is where I have Beast. Love me some Beast. Love Hank McCoy. Definitely the level head, the one you look to and go, yeah, he knows what's right in this moment, in any given moment. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's one of the better examples of that in the X-Men. He's not marred by emotion too often. He's got the real logical choice that can be moved on. Wolverine's angry. Scott Summers is basically always like, how will this affect Jean? But Beast, he's doesn't have an ego, isn't selfish, is always there for whatever the fuck everyone else needs. And I love that about him. And so I just had to have Beast at a relatively high spot. Wanted him top 25, but I couldn't comfortably put him above some of these characters, man. There's just too many.
Well, I'm glad, I don't know, someone else who's more well-versed with X-Men, seeing where he placed makes me feel a little bit better about where I have him, like up on mine. And I think, I don't know, he is one of the X-Men that would climb out of all of the rest, if one were to get bumped up. So,
yeah, and future on-screen portrayals, he's only subject to go up for me. It's just that with a lot of these characters coming up, they've had either such a stellar on-screen portrayal, or I've just loved them for so long that there was no way they weren't going to be there,
But yeah, okay. My 28 going back into the DC realm, and this one is mainly because of a movie that just recently came out, and this is where I have the Riddler. He was already pretty high for me before the Batman came out. His portrayal in Gotham is super cool. The beforehand, he's just a forensic scientist, just does some like little data, tests for the GCPD and stuff. And then you see him slowly turn into the Riddler, which is super cool.
Love a slow burn.
Jim Carrey, as the Riddler, and seeing the glasses, carry on into the new movie, which was super cool. But, I think this Riddler is my favorite of them all.
There's no way it can't be for me. Like in terms of just taking it seriously, taking it like an emotional resonance to a degree. You know, like there's a more powerful sentiment behind this Riddler than it seems there is behind other Riddlers.
This one just made more sense. It felt more real, and I don't know, it felt like what a Riddler would be like in real life with the follower, his followers, the social media aspect, I don't know. I'm super excited to see what happens in the future, with the next movie.
And I don't know if you heard about the news with Paul Dano. He's going to be writing Riddler Year One, DC Black Label comic book. So I'm very excited for that. Definitely going to be reading that.
Cool to see like someone love the character that much, in order to continue it outside of just the check that they're getting for the movie or whatever. Like it shows that he really likes this character, and it makes me even more excited to see what comes in the future with him. So, but yeah, I got the soundtrack going in the background right now.
Oh yeah, I have the whole episode. I don't know, like I don't know that there's ever a movie soundtrack I've latched onto more immediately than I have this.
My Spotify Wrapped is going to be
it's going to be fucked by Michael Giacchino, bro. Yeah. Michael Giacchino is going to be dominating that shit, just not because of just this. He also did No Way Home, and I was listening to No Way Home so much when it came out. So like I know he's going to be dominating that shit, but God, the Riddler, he did fantastic in the Batman. I've now seen it 5 times in theaters. Most recently out in Leawood, Kansas. Really cool, really nice AMC out there. But yeah, him. No,
this is not how it was supposed to go.
We were supposed to watch it together.
Watch what? Everything.
Yeah, like goddamn,
man.
You know what's prevailed is one of my favorite Riddler moments in that movie is and it's more of it's not from a character perspective, it's like a sound design perspective. Is the combination of the music, the chaotic dialogue, and how it all culminates. It's when Gil's neck bomb is ticking down. And Batman's like, you got to tell him. You got to say it. You got to say it. He's like, no, whatever happens, I'm going to if it happens this way, it's just me. But if I give over that name, it's going to be my family, the people I care about. And he's like, no, you got to. And the music's just building and building and building. And then the music, like in the background, all the while, the Riddler's going 3, 2, 1. And then the music drops out and he goes, bye. And then it,
how many times?
Like that is one of the best parts of that movie.
How many times they made us feel that, like, damn, he could have died right there. Like there were so many moments where it was like, is he like, did he die right there? I mean, this one I didn't feel like it was like very early in the movie, and like obviously he didn't die there. Whatever, like he's gonna be injured, but like there were times in the movie where I'm like, he like could be dead right here. Like, oh my god! But I don't know, I think that's just not knowing that there's going to be more, coming after. Like we watched Christian Bale's trilogy, knowing full well it's a trilogy, and you don't ever have the suspicion in your mind, like, oh yeah, Batman could die here or whatever. But
well, especially here with the way Warner Brothers has treated their projects recently, if it doesn't sell, they're not going to make a sequel. So like, there was a chance watching this was it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, this could be a one-off Batman, and like I'm certain it won't be now.
Oh, yeah. They have a gold mine here. I think they found the Batman.
They found the bag, is what they found. But yeah, that's a great one. And I'll top off this episode as well with my 27 and 26. I got a couple more Batman villains here, but with my 27, this is where I have Two-Face, Harvey Dent. I love Two-Face. I love Harvey Dent, and The Dark Knight is obviously the live action portrayal that you go to, and naturally, because it is far and away the most dramatized and well done, well executed turn having the highest of highs with Harvey Dent, making him out to be the savior of Gotham City, and
pretty comfortable in saying that it's the best arc of the movie. Because Joker, best character, best performance, best character, but he doesn't really have much of an arc. It's just he's chaos,
he's chaos.
But Harvey,
does he look like a man with a plan?
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. How iconic is that line right there? And perfectly, it happens in the movie.
Exactly. And by Harvey Dent.
So just the White Knight, the Dark Knight, Batman taking the fall for him. It's the hero that Gotham needs. And to portray
Harvey Dent as this impenetrable hero too. There is this time where Bruce is considering stopping during that movie, stopping being the Batman, because he's like, we've done it. We found the guy who can finally take my place and be the light that the city needs outside of me. I achieved my goal. I gave the city hope to a point where I inspired one person to take over that job. And, not quite, sadly. But another one of my favorites, I loved, Tommy Lee Jones back in the day for Batman Forever alongside Jim Carrey's Riddler. That was an interesting one. Another one that's not critically great, but it's a fun looking one. One portrayal that I wish for the life of me we could have gotten all the way Two-Face. In Batman Returns, Harvey Dent is played by Billy D. Williams. Lando Calrissian.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it could have been really cool to see Lando as Two-Face, as Harvey Dent, but he didn't turn during that movie. He was just Harvey Dent.
Thinking of the new Harvey, is it the mayor?
Is it Bella Ray?
Gotta have the white. You gotta be good before you can become Harvey, or before you become Two-Face.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and they've also set up this thing too, where Gil Colson just died, and he was the DA. So
I guess the new DA, whoever that happens
could be just Harvey Dent. But there's also this fact that the Robin in this universe could be Mayor Mitchell's son. That's not Dick Grayson. That's not Jason Todd. That's not any of those characters. It's something Mitchell. It's a fucking kid with the last name Mitchell. So they're clearly not.
If you throw the name Harvey Dent out, it's okay. Oh, then that's Two-Face or whatever. If Harvey Dent, the name is said, I guess they don't have to have Harvey Dent become Two-Face. They could still go with the mayor or whatever. But what a twist it would be to not hear the name Harvey Dent and then see Two-Face come in, come into fruition and everything.
I think the person they've clearly built up as the White Knight of Gotham City is Bella Real, the mayor of Gotham City. So it could be really cool to see her.
What gets her to fall if it happens? Even if it happens in the first place, but be super interesting to see. All right. My moving on here to my 27. Have a Spidey villain. This is where Venom is for me. I love me some Venom. Just the look alone of Venom is amazing. In Spider-Man 3, Tobey's Venom isn't really the one I latch onto necessarily, but the new adaptation of Venom is I don't know. I love those movies. They're super fun.
Wildly entertaining. They're nothing groundbreaking, but they're fun.
And we got some multiversal Venom stuff coming up here. So it could be very interesting to see what happens there. But I don't know. The look of Venom, the mask, the eyes, the teeth, it's so iconic. And I don't know. I just love Spider-Man enough to where I couldn't put Venom too low. He had to be up here. But
in the realm of Venom too, what I'm most excited for is Spider-Man PS4 or the next Spider-Man game. He'll be the villain in that.
Ooh.
And the way they did Doc Ock and all of those characters in Spider-Man PS4, it's going to go well with Venom, I think. I think that'll be a really good one. Arguably the most iconic villain character design in all of comic books. mostly because it's so tightly tied to Spider-Man. It looks very similar in terms of just the bones of it generally. But, when you get to that long fucking tongue and the eyes, the distorted white eyes and stuff, like that's a badass character design. And as far as like these last few have been concerned, Two-Face, Venom, and My 26, the Joker. Yes, these iconic villain character designs.
Okay, good way to cap it off, though, this episode for you.
Yeah, I was like, I'll conclude it with the Joker. It's a villain that's so iconic he had to be up here, and this is the explanation I've been wanting to get to with the Green Goblin Doc Ock thing. What did I hold in higher esteem? The Batman animated series that I grew up with, or the Spider-Man villains that I grew up with? And when I was little, man, it was the Batman animated series. I always loved the Spider-Man movies, and I grew to appreciate them more and more. When I was younger, man, you could not get me off of Batman. That was it was all Joker, all Two-Face, all of those guys, and Mark Hamill's portrayal in the animated series, definitely among the it's top two for me.
It's Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill. Those are the Joker for me. He's coming up next episode and pretty high up next episode for me.
It's actually funny. As I've said, I've recently started digging back into Batman 66 with Adam West's portrayal of the old series, and it inspired me to go like, of our 5 on-screen portrayals, Heath Ledger, Mark Hamill, and then I made out a top 5 for this occasion. 1, Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. There's no doubt. 2, Mark Hamill in the animated series and everything else he's done.
Games, everything. Voice. Whenever I think of a voice, I mean, it's Heath Ledger is probably first, but man, Mark Hamill's laugh.
You want to know how I got these scars?
Man, but sorry,
he put a knife in my mouth. Let's put a smile on that face. Like, goddamn. But 3, Cesar Romero. This is the Batman 66 portrayal of the character. As I was watching it recently, I was like, this is probably the one they've come the closest to maintaining. Like, there's a lot of evolution with the other characters as far as like, kind of have to modernize them at a point where it's like, all right, they can't be so cheesy, they can't be so corny. The Joker prides himself on being cheesy and corny and evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what he wants. He wants to be corny. He wants like in the most chaotic and evil way possible. So Cesar Romero, huge for me at 3. 4, Joaquin Phoenix, Joker, and then 5, Jack Nicholson, Batman. And you know how good the other Joker portrayals have to be if one of the greatest actors of all time is my 5. You know what I'm saying?
That's, man, what a character. Yeah, he'll come up later for me. I guess I'll say it. He made my top 10. I love Joker. I think it's Heath Ledger and Mark Hamill in specific that really put him up there.
Yes, those are the defining Jokers for me.
I don't know. There's not really many other characters that I can really latch on. And it is a villain, so I see why lower for you, but higher for me. I can appreciate the villains, and this is a villain that was just done perfectly in a lot of adaptations. So yeah,
a lot of respect. Oh, another great Joker is the Lego Batman movie. The one who is just like you can't live without me. Like they play up the romance thing with Joker and Batman and that, which is hilarious. I just want you to say that I'm your arch nemesis.
And the Killing Joke, at the very end when he just tells them they just have like a laugh together, they're just laughing with each other. But
I'm hoping with Barry Keoghan's Joker, we go with like a little bit more of a not love-hate relationship, but a more sympathetic Batman towards him, like kind of like a I feel bad for you, not a I hate you and I like you make me think I should kill you, like more like, man, it's such a shame you got to this point, like you could have been a good dude.
Damn.
And you're just not,
Wow. Yeah.
I think it could be interesting and a new take on the dynamic that we haven't gotten yet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that was a great way to top off this episode for you. To top it off for me, this is where Nick Fury is for me, and it felt fitting. The guy who got all the Avengers together, the leader to have like a capstone of one of the episodes.
The Avengers Initiative,
and
there was an idea.
And Captain Marvel only heightened his character for me, and hopefully we get a lot more Nick Fury coming. And I mean, it's got to be good. It's just got to be great. There's so much there with Skrull Nick Fury, and there's going to be a lot of mind blowing stuff that they're just going to call back to, and I can't even imagine what that's going to be yet. But I can't wait. I can't wait for the future of Nick Fury, and I don't know, Samuel L. Jackson. Is him just a perfect role for him.
Oh, dude, he was like, we talk about comic book movie castings and like where they've nailed it. And there are a few that have nailed it more than Nick Fury is. Well, Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury.
See, you instinctually just called him Nick Fury. Like, it's just who, like, he is that character. Yeah, I mean, I think of Nick Fury. There's no one else I'm picturing in my mind other than Samuel L. Jackson.
No.
So, but yeah, that's how my list will top off this episode. Yeah, what up, man? We're getting into some big names. Big names. So this is getting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But with that, we conclude 50 through 26. That's part 3 of the top 100 comic book characters, and next week we will conclude it with our top 25 comic book characters of all time. Very, very excited about that. And I can't wait to hear, because there's been plenty that you've already said that are in my top 25, and I'm assuming vice versa. There are plenty that I've said that are in your top 25.
I bold them whenever you say.
Gotcha.
I have Hulk, Deadpool, Professor X, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Joker, and Ultron that you have said so far. And I think, if we were to line up again, it'll be at the very top, I would assume, or close to the top is where we could possibly line up again. And I'm excited to see how that plays out. But
yeah, as you've mentioned too, like you threw out Captain Marvel and Natasha Romanoff and Harley Quinn. Those will all be next episode. Selena Kyle, Catwoman, is also next episode. Yeah, plenty to be seen. Very, very excited. But with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. If you would, head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find 24 hours of exclusive content. All that money goes back into making sure I can put this podcast on. If you would, follow Twitter at PennyBloomPod. Follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.